Welcome back, everybody. Yes, it is Massey's Main Entertainment. I'm hosting today because Brian's a little under the weather, a little thin voice, but we're still going to finish out our 70s uh, best album or perfect album segment here. 1979, single album, only 12 songs apiece. Of course, I'm here with Brian, his channel, Doc, our usual contingent, and this is a definite hodgepodge as far as I'm concerned. The music was changing. You still have your classic rock. There's some hard stuff in here, punk, new wave, disco's around. Not that I'm diving into heavily, but there's all kinds of music to pull from and to create what we consider our 12 best songs. We've been doing this since from the year 1965 through 1979. Once we get to 1980, we have a little new concept, little new twist we're going to pull on you guys. What we're going to do is on Brian's channel, he's going to continue the music perfect album. On my channel, simultaneously, we're going to do our top 10 movies from the same year. So once we start 1980, look for dual videos, so to speak. One on Brian's channel, one on mine. They'll be released the same time. We're going to record them the same day. Give you two things to watch, and we hope that's entertaining for you, as much for you guys as it will be for us to run through it. So, guys, I'm going to go to Doc first because Brian's voice is a little thin today. What'd you think of 79 while we complete the 70s?
Yeah. I think you summed it up there at the beginning there, Rich, when you said hodgepodge. That sums up 79 to me. Listen, 79's got maybe 3 albums I might take on a desert island when I get down to it. It really does. And we can talk about that at the end when we get there, but whatever the case, I got 3 that I really, really like. Outside that, man, yeah, I got 12 songs I like, and but this is not a strong year overall for me.
I agree.
I think 79, 78, and 74 stand out as the 3 weakest years in the 70s to me.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
Yeah.
How about you, Brian?
Yeah, I thought it's not a very strong year. Maybe of all the years we've done, maybe it's the third weakest.
Yeah.
Maybe 74, 78 probably this year. It did, however, contain probably 3 of these albums are my favorite album by that particular artist that I'll name. So it did have that for gems, but overall, just didn't think the albums had as much depth as it did in years past. So,
right. Today's order is going to be Brian number 1, Doc 2. I'll go third. We'll do some honorable mentions, and we'll plug our upcoming series at the end of the show. So, Brian, you want to dig into your side A? What do you have for us?
Okay, so we always have early predictions about what our trifectas were going to be. I think, Doc, you only said there was going to be 1 for this year. I'm going to go with 2, and really this side A is pretty much dictate probably whether we even have a chance in hell of being there. I'm going to kick it off with Pink Floyd's Hey You. From The Wall. This is going to be, obviously it's a double album. It had songs that charted in both 79 and 80. So there's probably going to be some crossover here, a little bit of leeway, I'm sure, that we'll play with. Really one of my favorite songs off the album, very kind of this haunting, wonderful guitar work and lyrics that I thought were really interesting. And when you play it along with the actual video of The Wall, it's kind of interesting. It makes it even more interesting. So I wanted to kick it off with that. My second song I picked was from Breakfast in America. I've got The Logical Song by Supertramp, probably my favorite song by them. Talk about a song that kind of flips itself on its head. It starts off talking about how life is when you're young. It's so wonderful and magical and this great place. And then by the time we actually flip around to the end of the second verse, it talks about how, you're basically, you're cynical, you're a vegetable, just being dependable. It just because you go from the innocence of childhood almost to the slave mentality of the real world as a grown-up, that you basically are slave to these higher industries, these higher government powers. And it's an interesting song for that reason. So number 3 for me, I've got ELO's Don't Bring Me Down. Maybe my favorite song by them overall. It's definitely got one of the most interesting little hooks right in the middle of the thing. They're doing a little chorus, and then out of nowhere, they just say the word Bruce. Like, where does that even come from? You know, I mean, why Bruce? Why not David? Why not, Stefan? I mean, whatever. I don't know. It's kind of these weird things that they just kind of pulled out of a hat, I think, in the studio, and it seemed to work really well for them. Great drumming on that track. Really just a great tune by ELO, great rock and jam. Number 4 for me, I've got from Damn the Torpedoes, I've got Don't Do Me Like That from Tom Petty, my favorite album by Tom Petty. Gonna have probably another song will make the 1980s list for me as well. We won't get into that just yet. But yeah, this is going to start a nice long run of Petty albums that I'm going to be a big, huge fan of that kind of carry over into the early 90s. So look for more of that stuff. Number 5 for me is my favorite album by the Eagles, which is probably a hot take. I love The Long Run. It's my favorite album by them. I think I've mentioned it several times here. I've got the song Those Shoes. Really deep cut here, guys, right? I'm going completely off the reservation here a little bit.
That's deep.
Yeah, there's some other good songs on there. Surprisingly, there was like 6 songs that actually charted off of this album, on the charts, and you wouldn't think that, considering that this is ranked maybe like their 4th or 5th best album by most people, but it actually had a lot of charting hits on there. Those Shoes, I think probably I kind of liked it a little bit more because I was into hip hop in the mid 80s, and the Beastie Boys. And on their album High Plains Drifter, the song, they sampled the song Those Shoes when they did their little rap. So I thought it was kind of cool. And closing out side A for me, I know this may be another hot take, but I mean, I got to give the gentleman his due. He's definitely a huge influence on R&B. It's probably, in hindsight, his best album now. Michael Jackson's Off the Wall. Don't Stop Till You Get Enough is going to close out my album. I know Thriller is like the big hit album that he had, but now when you look back on it in hindsight, he did so many more creative things on Off the Wall that I think carried over into influencing other R&B artists, particularly in the early 80s, than Thriller really ever did. Thriller was like that album that basically made 13-year-old girls happy. Yeah. And Off the Wall was the one that actually had probably the bigger influence on R&B. So I went ahead and chose a song from MJ off of that one. So despite whatever assorted past that he has, and I still give the man his due for what he can do musically. So
very good, buddy. I
think I have.
I don't know. We're all around, man. That's
yeah. Maybe not a trifecta at all. I don't know. Maybe not. It's just
I don't know. We'll see how it unfolds. But I like it. Look, the album's really good. Your album's fantastic. I really do like it. So that'd be my take on it right now. We'll see how things unfold when I go.
4 songs from the same album, but not necessarily the same song. Let's put it that way.
Wow. Yeah. See, so we're in the same ballpark. We're just
absolutely. Yeah,
different tastes and things like that. And
just a different cut off of each album that we like a little bit better, but we're into the same music here. It looks like 79 for me. I don't know about Doc, probably so, but we'll find out.
Yeah. Like The Wall must have at least 7 or 8 songs you could plug off of that album all by itself. So okay, so onward to side B. Now here's where of course it gets weird for me. I've got Joe Jackson's from his album I'm the Man, It's Different for Girls. And we're going to kind of get into this, proto-punk, post-punk kind of sound. Joe Jackson is kind of the rich man's version of Elvis Costello. He's a little bit more, dashing, and he dresses a little bit more the part. Kind of more like if you took Elvis Costello and shined him up and made him a lounge singer, this is who you're going to have. You're going to have Joe Jackson. So
more presentable,
a little bit more presentable. They got nice little straight shoes, and it's going to look the part. So it's kind of cool. I love this song. You should check it out if you haven't heard this one for sure. Number 2 on this side, I've got The Clash, London Calling. Maybe their marquee album, maybe not my favorite album, but certainly their marquee album. Janie Jones was like a song I had picked earlier from them, but on London Calling, I think has a lot more, speaking to a lot more of the plight of the poor man in England. And if you check out this song and the Guns Guns of Brixton. Very, very, very relevant songs for the time. And The Clash, just, this was a banging album. Definitely one of the top 10 albums of all time, I would think, if people list the albums. Number 3 for me, I've got my first maybe official new wave song all by itself. I've got Gary Numan's Cars from his album The Pleasure Principle. This is probably the first song that I can remember hearing off my very first K-Tel record. So here's where you start that journey. And I remember buying it in 79. It was like the first track on a K-Tel side. And I'm thinking, wow, what a unique sound. And of course, from there on, it's like everything that came out in the early 80s and especially, 80, 81, 82 just sounded.
There he is.
We're back. Sorry about that, folks.
Sorry about that, guys.
That's okay. We finished
anyway.
your album for you.
Good. I know we got a trifecta now.
Look at there, buddy.
I know I just mentioned Patti Smith, Dancing Barefoot. Number 5 for me on this is Jefferson Starship's Jane. Really want to kind of use a little bit of this stuff here too, if we're going to keep with the kind of like post-drug mentality of the late 60s. Maybe Jefferson Airplane had one of the most unique journeys in music history, when you can go from Surrealistic Pillow being one of the most landmark albums of the 60s, and then you are responsible for maybe one of the worst rock songs of all time in We Built This City later on in the 80s. But they haven't quite gotten there yet. Jefferson Airplane is still doing some pretty decent stuff here in the late 70s. And ending my side B is going to be Fleetwood Mac, Tusk. I know this album was, compared to Rumors, was way overpriced, way overhyped. They poured a ton of money into the production of this album, and it fell way short of expectations in a lot of ways. Still successful, but just not on a level that, one can consider after having Rumors just before it. I like the drum line in it and the horn section that kind of comes in with it as well. I think there's some creative stuff that's going on the album. Maybe just Lindsey Buckingham's one of those guys I always felt was just a little bit ahead of the curve musically. And I think maybe, Tusk came out maybe about 5 years too soon. I don't think people were ready for an album like this yet. So that's what I kind of attributed to, but I think it's a great album. I think it's a great song. So.
Especially following up Rumors, which was a mega smash.
Monster.
Yeah.
Maybe they needed something to transition between that and Tusk to make it more palatable.
Yeah, I think so. And then they put out Mirage, which kind of fell back into the pop, poppy catchy tunes. And I just think he tried to go a little bit more avant-garde and artsy, and I just think people weren't ready to hear that from them. They still wanted Fleetwood Mac to be that mega hit band that they were in the 70s like that. So
he must have been doing the good cocaine or something. Something expanded his mind.
Right.
That's an interesting side. It's definitely a Brian side. It's more avant-garde than my style, but even Cars, I'm not a Gary Numan guy, being honest, but I can see why you put it on that album. It was a monster hit too. It was pre-MTV, but I think later they showed
they actually made a music video for it.
They did.
Yeah.
And it might have had a resurgence at that point, like a year or two later, whatever. But very nice. I like it. I don't know that we'll get a trifecta today. We'll find out.
Yeah.
I don't know either. I guess we will find out, Rich? So
we're going to find out sooner than later, too.
You're right about everything that you said, Brian, about how it gets a little skewed, right? Like you talked about Joe Jackson and Gary Numan and The Clash still popping around. And,
all good acts.
And your classic rock kind of thing that still exists. And what are you pulling off the classic rock things you might take with you in 79? So I'm going to jump in, buddy. Here we go. 79. Yeah, Breakfast in America, buddy. This is one that I would take to an island, I think, if I could. So mine's Goodbye Stranger that I'm going with.
Okay,
so there's around 5 songs off this album you can have, I think. And you named one, and I hope I named another. So Goodbye Stranger, just man, that tune and the way, the drops in it and stuff like this, just the storytelling that I love Hodson, man. I love Davies and stuff like this. I think they were great when they were collaborating together before the big fights and stuff like that. And it's almost like towards the beginning of the end here, almost for these guys too. So before Cannonball and stuff like that. So Goodbye Stranger starts it for me in 79. Go back to Yellow, number 2, I guess. I don't know who Bruce is either, man. So, but Don't Bring Me Down is going to come in at number 2 for me, man. So
there we go.
Last Train to London is a great tune off this album as well, man. So, but and I like that sound too. It's a funky disco-y kind of sound for Yellow and that other tune. But Don't Bring Me Down's probably it's right up there for me as well, Brian. It's one of the first ones, maybe the first song that I actually remember from Yellow, listening to Yellow at that time. So, especially at this age, I'm 10 years old. Basically, so this is I'm expanding my mind, and Yellow, Don't Bring Me Down is definitely a 79er for me, man. So I'm taking that one. Number 3 off Van Halen 2, man, is Dance the Night Away. It's going to come in as my 3rd tune. Not nearly as strong an album to me as their debut, but still a pretty solid, couple solid tracks off of this one too. So there is a couple of good ones, Somebody Give Me a Doctor or something like that. It's a really good tune. Beautiful Girls, also really good. But Dance the Night Away, man. David is David, and he sounds really good in this one too, man. And it's just a different kind of sound. It shows a little bit more popish rock for Van Halen, even at this time. So not as heavy as what people are expecting, but a great tune. I like The Long Run as well from the Eagles. I like the title track, man. That's one of my favorites. I'm taking that song with me, man. The Long Run. Okay. So I didn't go as deep as you there, Brian. But I'm telling you, man, we're all around it because we're picking the same albums and stuff like this. We're just pulling different tunes from these things. So, it's a great album. Hotel's one thing, Long Run's another. There's lots of great songs from these guys here in the 70s, and this is another one to put up on the wall and mark it down as a lister, man. Long Run's a great tune, and I just love the sound of the Eagles, man. I don't know what to say. I think they sound fantastic. So I know that's probably, not everybody's opinion because they can be pretty polarizing too. So I'm going to follow that up with Zeppelin, man. All My Love. I think this is their deepest song that Led Zeppelin ever wrote, if you want the truth. It's an emotional song. It's got more of a taste to it. I think, with Plant and the loss of his son and everything else that goes behind this song, I think there's a lot more meaning to it. And there's everything else that All My Love is a really, really good, different kind of song for Zeppelin, but it's a great song. So 79, that makes my list, man, because it's it's a powerful song and I love it. So ending my side A with The Wall. Yes. This is another one that's coming on my island. Well, that's a polarizing statement, I guess, too. So, but I'm sorry, The Wall is awesome. That's my take. I'm taking Comfortably Numb. I love Hey You, man. Don't get me wrong, Brian. That's 2 of the best guitar solos on that album are in these 2 songs. So Comfortably Numb. Obviously one of the more popular songs, but I know people can take different songs off these albums. Hey You, Mother. There's I love the whole bloody thing, man. So that's my take. But Comfortably Numb's just the top of the ladder here for me off this album, I think, and that's classic Floyd, man. It's gonna have my side A.
Wow. Well, see, we're dancing around the same albums. I just figured that was going to be the case.
Yeah.
Definitely. On side 1, especially, I have 3 of Doc's songs and 3 other honorable mentions. So pretty strong.
Wow.
So it doesn't sound like we were close on 6, Rich. Again.
No.
Side B will be different, but that was pretty solid there. I like it. Not
bad, eh?
No, it's not bad at all.
But side B, you're gonna sit there and say, I don't know how this goes actually. So if I jumped right into side B, it is Highway to Hell from AC/DC to start.
Yeah.
I can't get around. Yes, this is my favorite AC/DC album, and this one is coming with me to my island. So
this is your favorite AC/DC album?
But yeah.
Okay.
And it's not close. To be honest with you, I love every song on this album. My second song would have been Love Hungry Man or something like that off this album, man. There's a lot of great tunes off this album, man. So I love every song on this album. But I'll take the title Highway to Hell, man. I don't think I can go wrong with a classic rock and roll riff like that to start off. So damn, those torpedoes come in number 2, man. But I'm taking Refugee right after that sucker, man. So
Wow.
that's it's right up there, man. Maybe it's second, third favorite Petty song, man. It's just a rock and Petty tune, man. I love this tune. Powerful, it's strong. It's a stronger song for Petty. It's not a soft song, right? This isn't, just an acoustic or something like that. He's belting it out at you here, man. Especially during the chorus, right? So Refugee is a great tune, man. Number 3. Well, this one you probably don't know. So it's Laid on the Line by Triumph.
I know that song.
Yeah, I know that song.
Yeah.
Good one.
Yeah, so that's going to be my third. Triumph is, Canadian rock band here, another trio, a little heavier than Rush. And they come up with some pretty good tunes here in the 70s and the early 80s, to be honest with you. So some stick. I was hearing a lot of this growing up, and this is one that I still like today. So Laid on the Line is got that classic 70s rock and roll sound, man, and I like that. So that's coming. So number 4, it's London Calling, man, by The Clash.
Wow.
So
there we go.
I'm not a Clash dude, man. This is a really good tune. So I liked a couple that you mentioned even on your album there that just missed for me and stuff like this, and we'll get to that when we get to it. But London Calling is making my list in 79, man. This is a different sound. It doesn't have that whole punkish kind of sound to it in one sense to me either. I think it's more of a rocky punk. And something I can really get into a beat to behind it. And I get there's a lot of stuff behind The Clash, and you're into it, and you're not into it, all this other stuff. I'm not into it that much, man. This tune rocks, so I'm taking it. Hodgepodge, man, I couldn't have done it better if I wanted to. Holy cow. Oh, man. I got Joe's Garage coming in at number 5 here, man.
Zappa.
Yeah,
Wow.
Zappa.
Nice.
Wow.
Told you, man. It's all over the map here, especially towards the end. I'm going all over the map here, but yeah, I'm not a Zappa dude either, man. So this tune I really like. What can I tell you? This, because these land at the same year doesn't mean one thing or another, but
yeah.
It's a great song, and I'll take the songs for what they are to me. So Joe's Garage is an easy listen. A little bit of meaning behind the story and stuff like that in the song about trying to make it. They're all playing in their band, punkers and heavy metalers, and how they never get promised anything and all that sort of stuff. It's a neat little tune. It's a catchy tune. It's a talk singing kind of song too. But when you get into the hook and the chorus and stuff like that, it's catchy enough. And if you get that song in your head, man, you'll be singing it for a couple of days too. So at least I do. Gonna end it out with Let's Go by the Cars. Okay. This is probably the first Cars tune that got me into the Cars, if you want the truth.
Wow.
From Candy O, right? So it's Candy O's a good tune too, man. So, but Let's Go is it's right up there. I love Bye Bye Love. I love a lot of stuff off that first album too. And there's a couple others in the future that I don't mind either, but Let's Go is probably my favorite Cars tune, man. So it's the first one with me, and it's coming in with me in 79. That's how I end it.
Wow, we were pretty much right on the money of a lot of these songs. If not the song, another song on the album. I can't believe I'm like, wow.
That's kind of a hot take about the AC/DC. That's what I'm going to carry away from it. Almost like 95% of the people are just going to say Back in Black.
Hey, Back in Black's a fantastic album, man. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to.
And you know what?
I'm not,
I love every song.
I'm not saying that it's
too.
even my Back in Black is not my favorite AC/DC album. Probably Let There Be Rock will probably be my favorite.
Let There Be Rock, High Voltage. Could be anything.
Yeah, High Voltage even was a little bit more bluesy for me. I kind of like that a little bit more, but geez, I mean, Highway to Hell. Okay.
Yep.
Oh yeah, man. That album is just kick ass.
All right, let me go at it. This is going to be short and sweet because a lot of the stuff's already been mentioned. Here we go. Side A, 1979. Kicking it off with Highway to Hell, AC/DC.
Right on, buddy.
I'm not an AC/DC guy, but I have to admit this is my favorite song of theirs. And I just love the lyrics, the sexual innuendo, runs through their catalog a lot of times, and badass, balls to the wall, rock and roll. I had to put it. It's a good leadoff track too. It brings you right in.
Mm-hmm.
My second track is "Comfortably Numb" by Pink Floyd. It's my favorite song off the wall. Although I love "Hey You," and you're right, those guitar parts on both are mega awesome. David Gilmour, what a guitar player he is, and
fantastic.
The lyrics on this, and the mood, awesome. Probably my top 3 Pink Floyd songs of all time, and the best on the wall. Third track is Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, "Refugee." That is a killer song, man. That's like Doc said, easily. It used to be my favorite Petty song, but there's a couple that are nudging up there now. It's probably in my top 3. Off their best album, "Damn the Torpedoes."
Yeah,
that's the one that really put them in the big time. It's their third album as a band, and I love "Refugee." Great song. "Rebel You're Abandoned," just it kicks ass all the way through. My fourth song is one we haven't heard from the Pretenders, "Brass in Pocket." Always love this song. I'm special. Chrissy and the Boys. Love that. That's like one of their signature songs, "Brass in Pocket." My fifth track is Elvis Costello's "What's So Funny About Peace, Love, and Understanding." Just written by Nick Lowe, but you can just assume it was written by Elvis because the lyrics are so tight, dynamite, and punky, and just the title, "What's So Funny About Peace, Love, and Understanding." He's making a statement. Great song. Never get tired of that one. And I'm going to end my side A with the Eagles' title track, "The Long Run." I'm a fan of the Eagles, all 6 of their first albums until that "Long Road Out of Eden," which is a comeback album, which I didn't care for. But all their albums are good. They all have great songs on them. They're great songwriters. They personify the 70s as far as classic rock and folk rock or country rock, whatever you want to define them as. They got a little more edgy as the decade wore on, and the drugs kicked in, and I love the guitar solo. When they added Joe Walsh to the band, a little more punch to the band, more rocking edge. But the Long Run's making it too. I could have went a couple directions. I love "Those Shoes" that you mentioned too. Probably my second favorite song on the album. That was a close call, and I like that ballad. I can't tell you why, by Timothy Schmidt as well.
Even "Sad Cafe." I mean, "Sad Cafe" is one of my top 5 Eagles songs. It's right on that album, so it's a great song.
So that whole album is really good, except for "The Greeks Don't Want No Freaks." I can live without that. But other than that, 9 out of 10 songs ain't bad.
You got to draw the line somewhere, right?
That's going to end my side A.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good side A. A little bit different for you. I was surprised that you had Elvis here, and you had the Pretenders.
I like both those bands. I like
those.
I mean, that's kind of that's something I would have not have thought of. I'm glad.
Yeah, I like the Pretenders pick. Obviously, I like your album, Rich. I mean, frig, I think we got like 3 or 4 tunes that are the same here, brother. So
yeah.
First 3 right out of the chute: "Highway to Hell," "Comfortably Numb," and "Refugee." They all appeared on yours.
That's right, and we have "The Long Run."
And that's 4.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, so
I'm the one that's messing everything up here, guys.
I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Side B is definitely going to be different. A few acts we haven't even heard from yet. There's 1, 2 actually that have been mentioned. So let's jump into that. I'm going to kick it off with "Life During Wartime" by the Talking Heads.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah,
it's a good opening song. Peanut butter. He has that David Byrne. Great video. "Life During Wartime." One of my top songs from the Talking Heads. Number 2 is out of left field for me. It's Van Morrison's "Full Force Gale." This is a real spiritual, uplifting song. If you don't feel good after listening to this song, there's something wrong with you. "Full Force Gale." It's on the Into the Music album.
Okay.
Really strong from Van. My third, to make you guys happy, we have a trifecta. Don't Bring Me Down by ELO. So we hit on one. That's pretty good. And everything you guys said. Who the heck's Bruce? Where's that come from? We don't know. But it's such a catchy, infectious song. Don't Bring Me Down.
Yeah.
Love it. From what, the Discovery album, I think it's
It's
on.
Discovery. Yeah.
Yep, it is.
Yep.
Then my fourth song is one that I stand alone on, and that's Ricky Lee Jones, Chucky's in Love. It was a hit. She and Tom Waits were an item at the time, and kind of beatnik, hipster kind of couple. And I just love this song. I like the lyrics in it, and it was off her first album, self-titled, Ricky Lee Jones. My fifth track is a famous track by the Police, Message in a Bottle.
Yeah.
Sending out an SOS. So I always like that song, and it makes my album. And gonna end it with one Doc had, Supertramp, Goodbye Stranger is my favorite song off that album, but you could go 4 or 5 ways. I like the Logical song. I like the title track, Breakfast in America, as well. And Take the Long Way Home.
On the way home. Yeah.
I like Goodbye Stranger. I like the way it flows, and the musical part in the middle. It runs pretty well. And I wanted to get a goodbye song at the end here. So
yeah,
like
that great falsetto voice in Goodbye Stranger, probably the best part of it, right? I mean, it just comes into the chorus and it's like that really high pitched falsetto.
Goodbye Stranger, it's been nice. Hope you find your paradise.
Yeah.
I'd sing it for you, Brian, but I don't want to scare anybody off.
I cannot.
I can't get that high yet.
No. Anything close to anything
So
like
that does it. I mean, we did have a lot in common, a lot of the same albums, a couple different tunes.
For sure.
That's 1979 for us three.
That's not bad. I wrote down a couple of songs I wanted to go back and listen to. Full Force Scale is one of them. I know I have listened to Into the Music too by Van Morrison. I have to go back and revisit that song. And the song by Doc, by Led Zeppelin, All My Love. I've got to go listen to that, revisit that to make sure that I remember that song for sure.
It's a great tune.
Yeah. I wanted to check those out for sure.
I like those. Honorable mentions. What do you have, guys? I'm going to do mine last because I have a bunch. But...
Well, I mean, basically, I got like these 6 songs from Pink Floyd that weren't mentioned. There's like 3 other songs by Tom Petty that weren't mentioned. Right? There's like Sarah off of Fleetwood Mac's Tusk that I think is a really great song. Like 4 songs off of the Eagles too that I could have thrown out there. Guns of Brixton from the Clash for sure. It just seemed like I said there was only so many good albums, but it seemed like a lot of the stuff came from those same albums. Highway to Hell, that was still just kind of amazes me, Doc, on that one. That's going to really perplex me for a little while here.
Oh yeah, man, that's a great that bluesy heavy rock album that is, man. That's a great AC/DC album. That's my favorite. Yeah.
You know what my favorite guitar solo is by AC/DC though is not till you get to Fly on the Wall, and that's Sink the Pink.
Sink the Pink.
Yeah. You get to that, then that's my favorite guitar solo from them.
Give me water, give me wine.
Yeah.
Sink the Pink. What if that's about? I don't know.
Well, it's only with AC/DC. It's only about 2 or 3 things. That's
right.
I'm not gonna give a whole lot to the.
Yeah. They can say about pool all they want. It's got nothing to do with the pool.
What else did you get for honorable mentions, Doc? I mean,
what do you have?
Yeah, I mean, Rich, you touched on this even off screen. I think at one time, written down album like songs like Tragedy by the Bee Gees and stuff like this. That, were big songs in '79 and stuff like that. They're not making my list, but they were big songs.
Yeah.
Had a song called Armageddon by a band called Prism Up Here, which is a
never heard of.
Look, I had Cars that you had mentioned, Brian. Cars was on my list. I had Don't Stop Till You Get Enough as well, written down.
Mm-hmm.
I had I mentioned Beautiful Girl and Somebody Give Me to a Doctor, Dream Police. In the City, I also like off that.
In the City.
Yeah.
Like you said, everything off Breakfast in America. I mean, every song literally off Highway to Hell I could have taken on that. That could have been, I got 9 songs. I could have been fine with that, but The Wall's got to come with me too. So Every Time I Think of You by the Babies actually was released as a single or came off on this album in 1979. So I like this tune a lot too. And I really like that call that you had, Jane, as well too, man. That's a great tune too. And Your Pretenders tune I really like a lot too,
Brass and
Rich.
Pocket,
So
yeah.
Brass and Pocket there.
Let me run through a couple. I like the title track "Low Budget" by the Kinks, "Rock and Roll Fantasy" by Bad Company,
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Sarah, Fleetwood Mac, "Oliver's Army" by Elvis Costello, the Tom
Yeah.
Petty songs, "Here Comes My Girl," "Even the Losers," great, "Don't Do Me Like That," the three from Supertramp, "Breakfast in America," "Take the Long Way Home," and a Logical Song. I can't tell you why we did the Eagles, those shoes. I like "Hey Hey My My" by Neil Young.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Romeo's Tune, Steve Forbert, personal fan of that. "Hey You," "Dance the Night Away," which you guys covered. "Is She Really Going Out with Him?" Joe Jackson. "Walking on the Moon" by the Police. I like that tune.
Yes.
I remember that song by Forbear. Meet me in the middle of the day. Let me
Yeah,
hear you
that's-
say. Right. That's it. Right. Yeah. Okay.
That's Romeo's Tune. I like "Cool to Be Kind" by Nick Lowe.
Yeah.
Zeppelin, "All My Love" and "Fool in the Rain." "Let's Go" and "Dangerous Fight" by the Cars. "Lady Writer" by Dire Straits. "Dirty White Boy" by Foreigner. "Cheap Sunglasses," ZZ Top, and Clash,
Yeah.
"London Calling." So I had that close, but just didn't make it. So wild year.
Well, that wraps up at least the 70s now. Going with a nice clean slate for the 80s.
Yeah, we wanted to wrap that up because we have the 80s, which we teased a little bit in the beginning here about. We're going to do two dual videos, excuse me, where on my channel, we're going to be doing the top 10 movies from each particular year, starting with 1980. At the same time, on Brian's channel, Massey's Main Entertainment, we're going to continue our series here of 1980, The Perfect Album, where we're going to do our favorite 10 or 12 songs, excuse me, from that year. So that format won't change. It'll just be accompanied by a partner video, which we will cross over and leave in the description below, where we, if you like one, you can go over and check out the other, the parallel concept that we're going to try to do. I think people will like it. I hope so. Anyway, people that want to dissect each year and see what was playing on the radio, what was in the theaters, that type of thing. If you like our channels, you'll like that concept, I think. So
Yeah.
We're not sure when we're going to get to it. It's going to be relatively soon, but we've been fighting a few health issues here, and we want to make sure we're back 100% so we can get rolling on that. In the meantime, look for our Pulp Fiction. I want to tease that as well. We're going to recast Pulp Fiction on my channel, I guess, right? So that'll be coming up as well.
Yeah.
We've already done The Godfather and the 4 Alfred Hitchcock movies. Check them out too. Go to my channel, look at the playlist to be able to pick out any of those that we've already talked about. And we'd like to get some feedback as well, comments. Subscribe to Brian's channel, of course, which you're watching now, and my channel. We love the comments. So
I'll make sure that I put the Spotify playlist links up as well. So check those out.
Yes.
So all right, cool. So we'll be back in the near future with 1980 and look for the movie stuff as well. We can't wait to dive into that because like all of our videos, we don't know what's on each other's list. It's always going to be a surprise. It creates good conversation along the way. So for Brian and Doc, this is Rich. See you next time. Thank you very much for watching.